my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
TV and entertainment has been around for a very long time. What has also been around is the voice of the people. It's not anything new for people to come out and say that they don't like something or to express that they do like something. Art is a form of expression, and interpreting that art or critiquing that art is also a form of expression. TV and movies fall into art. People create these stories and they mold together these characters and develop them as time goes on to tell a tale or to try and manipulate the audience's or potential audience's emotions. The best work's done is when they're open to interpretation. And what's wonderful is you can get the honest feedback of the people of whom you're depending on for the money to either fund your next project or reap a profit on the one you've just done. The best things that have been created through supply and demand. You see, there's this thing called people wanting something and creators supplying it. People will only continue making stuff if they can continue to benefit from people wanting it. And they won't know how to compete with those that are doing better than them or how to make better products unless they hear back from the people. That's why you also get websites that will allow people to leave reviews. Sites like Amazon are known for this, and sometimes businesses also abuse this by sending people products and telling them that if you leave a 5-star review, we'll let you have it for free. So you do have to sift through these type of reviews to know who's actually legitimate or not. Sites like Rotten Tomatoes have recently begun doing deceptive practices as well. And if their movie is not doing well or their show is not doing well, they'll go ahead and copy paste a whole bunch of positive reviews like they did with the Captain Marvel movie to try and combat this, and it usually doesn't work because as time goes on, the real reviews start shining through unless they kibosh it.
Get your shit together.
Now, I'm not saying that the users themselves don't abuse this as well, but most of the time, the majority of people who are leaving reviews, especially if they're honest negative reviews, are people that have watched. People leave reviews under 2 circumstances. If they really like something, or if they really hate it and it's wasted their time. People have a right to leave these reviews because if you're spending money on something, or the most precious resource that is non-refundable, time, then just like the artist has a right to express in the way they make their art,
I'm an artist.
the people who you are asking to consume your art have a right to also tell you how they feel about your art. It should be understood that not everything that is put out people are going to love. You have shows like Barry that are loved by many people, but there are people, even in shows like Breaking Bad and Barry and others that are seen as really loved and celebrated that still end up hating these shows, and that's okay. You don't see these studio execs coming after those people because they are a minority. We don't see them coming after the majority of people who like something because they're the majority and it's working out in their favor. However, when we have shows like Velma that seem to be universally hated, it's really a deceptive practice for the studios or the creators to come out and say, you know, instead of taking inventory on what we might have done wrong or why people hate our show, let's just combat this and fix the problem by attacking the audience and making up false reviews to say how wonderful it is, or just yeah, going back to the drawing board and attacking the audience.
Stupid fuck.
And apparently, this is exactly what some of these execs are doing. Some articles had recently surfaced around this time, headlining HBO Bosses use secret fake accounts to troll TV critics. Casey Bloys ordered staffers to create fake accounts to fire back at critics, according to text conversations reviewed by Rolling Stones as part of a new lawsuit. Oh boy, somebody's in trouble.
Oh, dude, that's so sad.
Imagine feeling so entitled that you put out a movie or a show and you just expect people to like it, and if they don't, instead of either keeping it pushing and having faith in what you have created or just saying, well, some people will like it or I guess I can't win them all, you straight up attack the audience or your consumers who are strictly critiquing the art itself or the thing that you have created that you're asking them whether or not they will like.
It's so snobby.
You attack them as a whole when they weren't even personally attacking you. Half of these people, or actually 90% of people that watch movies and they don't enjoy it, don't come away from it saying, man, that freaking director, I absolutely loathe that person. I'm gonna go to his house and scratch out his eyes. No, they come away saying, well, that was a shit piece of shit movie. Wasted my money on that. Let me leave a bad review or not. And maybe if enough bad movies come out from that same director, then they will try to avoid that person person personally to save themselves from wasting any more time. But people rarely maliciously attack the creators of shows or movies whenever they don't like something. Usually when I don't like a movie, I'll think to myself, man, this movie sucked ass. I'll make an offhanded joke saying, what were the writers smoking? Not really knowing who the writers are and not really caring at that point. But where I will feel some kind of animosity towards the writers is when they turn around and try to tell me as a consumer who have just spent my money towards a subscription or a movie ticket, and I'm expressing myself about how I felt about doing so, that, well, I'm just a bigot. Or that my voice and expression of how I feel about what they've just put out and expect me to spend my money on doesn't matter, you know? Because I should just go back to the kitchen and just make them some food, because that's all I'm good for. Imagine the intense narcissism and entitlement. That is basically what this amounts to. And people might not think articles like this are an issue, but let me tell you something. If this does turn out to be true, this is why it's a problem. Now, going into the article, it says HBO has responded to allegations arising from a wrongful termination dispute with an ex-employee that accused Casey Bloys, the network's then president of original programming, of commanding a secret army to push back against TV critics, posting tepid reviews of HBO titles. It's like something you expect from Disney. In a statement, the company did not challenge claims that Bloys and another executive directed ex-HBO executive assistant Sully Tamori to post from fake accounts with the aim of undermining high-profile critics as well as anonymous commenters on articles. HBO intends to vigorously defend against Mr. Tamori's allegations, a spokesperson said. We are not going to comment on select exchanges between programmers and errant tweets. And yes, very, very likely people could be lying about this. Disgruntled employees are usually prime candidates for attempting scorched earth scenarios. So yes, take this with a grain of salt. But if this is in fact something that has happened or is happening, which we know is a possibility, it does raise concerns about the importance of consumer criticism, freedom of expression, and ethical behavior in the entertainment industry. As I've said before, when it comes to movies and entertainment specifically, consumers, people who are spending their money and their time on these things that these creators want us to, so that they can reap the success off of us doing so, have a fundamental right to express their opinions and critique entertainment products, because movies, entertainment as a whole, since you are consuming it, it is considered a product. Freedom of expression is a cornerstone of democratic societies. And this extends to discussions and critiques of art, including TV shows and movies, as I've said. So when companies or individuals attempt to suppress or manipulate these critiques, it undermines the whole importance of freedom. Creating fake troll accounts to attack critics is not only deceptive, but it causes people not to trust you as a studio and a company. Deceptive tactics erode trust.
No, I don't trust you.
And can lead to this perception and very obvious proof that the creators or the companies are not willing to accept constructive feedback. Now, trust me, I understand there's a difference between critiquing and just downright being malicious.
Tired already?
You guys suck!
If someone comes at you, the person themselves on their Twitter account, like the creator of the movie or the writer, and they're like, you're a piece of shit, off of no basis except that they just didn't like what they put out, that's kind of unacceptable. You don't have to attack the person themselves unless they've done something heinous or have attacked you first. But if a person came out and they made a movie and they legitimately thought they were making a good movie, and people just went to their social media account and they're like, you're disgusting, it's very rude and it's not constructive. Now, here's another example of this. If someone goes to that person's account and they say, you know what, your movie really sucked, bro. For someone in the industry for as long as you have, it's kind of messed up that you don't know how to outline a movie properly.
Don't let me ever see you do that again.
Here's what I didn't like about your movie. Here's what could have been different. You don't have to make it different because it's your choice, but these are the successes of other movies and why they worked, and this is why yours isn't doing well because this is what you did that's pissing people off. You see, if people actually want to make money, if people actually want to sell their product, they're going to be curious as to why people are not buying their product. Movies function the same way. It doesn't mean that all movies have to be exactly the same because there has to be some kind of creative freedom as well. You can't just bend to the will of everything the audience wants. Trust me, I have fallen into that same situation where people want me to change certain things about my stories or my videos, but if the majority of people obviously don't have a problem with it, you can still listen to those critiques, but chances are you're doing something right because people are still consuming your product. However, there have been times when people have come out against something and a lot of people are talking about legitimate concerns, and instead of actually hearing what those concerns may be, they quickly just brush them off, thinking to themselves, well, I'm the shit, so the problem can't be me. It's gotta be all 10 million of you.
What?
Not Not to mention, the very obvious observation is that it's a form of censorship. It attempts to silence dissenting voices and discourage honest feedback, which only serves to help the creators and the industry as a whole. Not to mention the people. Did I already say this? I think I did. The creators themselves. Because, you know, who wants to make better movies so they can compete with the other movies and studios that are doing well, right? No, that's a pipe dream. If critics are always fearing retaliation, of course they're not going to express their opinions honestly, which is already happening. And this only serves to stifle creative and artistic discourse and art itself. Everything becomes stagnant, and guess what starts to happen? What starts to happen is that people stop even talking about your movies and TV shows, and then they start to give their money and their time to foreign forms of media. Japanese anime, or Korean drama, or African dramas, or Eastern TV shows, anything else except for Western media. Because anything else will have more pride and quality over what's starting to be produced in Western media that's slowly going downhill in terms of quality. My time does never scared me. I thought he was naked. My time was never wasted or never feels wasted when I'm watching anime. And people can talk about and review anime. They can do that with the Korean dramas as well. I mean, it's something that goes hand in hand with the consumption of art. Critiquing. Honest and constructive criticism is valuable for the entertainment industry because it helps the creators and the studios understand what works and what doesn't in their content. So when the criticism is stifled or manipulated, the only thing that serves to happen is that there becomes this production of subpar content that doesn't meet the expectations of the audience, and once you shut up the audience, all they're gonna do is just run away. That's why most of these studios end up being so flabbergasted when they realize, wow, all the people that I thought were watching and the loud people on Twitter, our ratings have dropped and barely anyone spent any money to see our films. What the frick is going on? And they're acting all shocked when they're suppressing the very thing that would have been a tool for them to understand why audiences are disconnecting with their work. And these are very deceptive practices. I'm not surprised if there's going to be a legal issue with this as well. Because if you're combating people who are leaving honest reviews to protect the consumer, and you're doing this in the means to protect yourself and deceive the consumers, it's very misleading. There's a paragraph in this article that says, according to a review of the Messages by Rolling Stone, Tamori was asked to create the fake accounts in June 2020 at the direction of McCaffrey. She allegedly told him that Blois was obsessed with Twitter and always wanted to pick a fight on the platform. Is there a way to create a dummy account that can't be traced to us doing his bidding? Wrote McCaffrey, who added that Blois always texts me asking to find friends to reply.
You spend far too much time with your computer. It's not healthy.
It's my life.
That's so very, very sad.
I really think that social media has wrecked everything. You notice how every time there's a really great invention, it always turns out to be good initially and then turns out to be this weapon of mass destruction later on? Then people have to find a way to temper it. Keep in mind, that's what AI is right now. It just created this beautiful thing, and it's gonna turn into this mass destructive thing very, very soon. And then people, many years later, are gonna have to try and find a way to fix the problem. That's the cycle of everything. Anyways, what do you guys think about this? Do you think that they're evening the playing field out there doing this by making these dummy accounts? Or should they spend less time trolling their audiences and trying to spend that extra time finding better writers and coming up with better stories?
That's what I want.
Anyways, thanks so much for watching. This has been Ultiori. You ask, we answer.